This is Astrosmash, the 1981 release for the Intellivision system. And you can see we have the keypad overlays right here that aren't really critical for this game, which is a good thing, because Intellivision is known for overcomplicating a simple game with an abundance of controls. Here's the Astrosmash cartridge, and you can see the wonderful artwork on the box. It says this game is for color TVs only, so don't attempt to play this on a black and white TV. Now on with the review. Yeah, I know, this game is a very familiar concept with the late 70s, early 80s video game space shooter genre. But it's an interesting take on the genre. At first blush, it might look like a Space Invaders clone, or maybe even an Asteroids clone. And you're not too far off there. It's actually a combination of Space Invaders and Asteroids. So if your Space Invaders cartridge and your Asteroids cartridge mated and had a baby, it would be Astrosmash. Now let me talk a bit about controls here in this game. And controls in an Intellivision game is always a very delicate, finicky thing. If you're playing Intellivision games, you'll find yourself constantly looking at the keypad because they always overuse the keypad in almost every game. So you have to constantly look down. You almost always need an overlay to play a game because there's so many different things that the buttons do. In this game, doesn't really use that many buttons on the keypad. It uses the number 1, 2, and 3 buttons, and that's about it. The number 1 button switches you into auto fire, which was a primitive example of a turbo button. You press the auto fire button, and I think it's actually better than a turbo button because once you press the auto fire button once, you don't have to press another button. The game just fires constantly by itself. You don't have to hold the button down for like a turbo button. You just simply switch on the auto fire, and you can put your shooting on autopilot. So yeah, number 1 is auto fire. Number 2 on the keypad switches it out of auto fire into the single fire mode. And number 3 on the keypad is hyperspace, which is does the exact same thing as hyperspace in Asteroids. It warps you to a random part on the playing board or screen. There's no board there, but it's a fixed linear line. Unlike Asteroids, where you can free float throughout the whole screen. Now, if you're in the single fire mode, you depress any one of the 4 side buttons on the controller, and they all do the same thing. It's fire. But if you want to fire a rapid fire like a double burst, they have a primitive version of the thumbstick click button, which is actually depressing the center of the control disc on the Intellivision controller. I don't know of any other games in the Intellivision that use that feature. I didn't even know it was a functional feature on the control disc, but apparently so. So yeah, you're looking at one of the first examples, if not the first example, of a thumbstick click button. So the object of the game is quite simple. Destroy the rocks. Big rocks usually make little rocks, but that's not always the case. And those spitting bow tie kind of looking things are bombs that are being dropped at you. And if a bomb hits the bottom of the screen, your linear playing line, what they are representing as the ground, then you die. If a rock hits the ground, not a big deal. You have a point deduction, but that's about it. You still live on. Of course, if a rock hits your spaceship laser thing, then you do die also like that. And the explosions are quite nice. It's a great explosion animation. Now, as you advance in the later stages, there are these white guided missiles that look like basically round dots. And they can be a bit tricky to avoid. There's one there. You have to shoot them down pretty quick because they kind of track your ship. And if they hit the ground, they run along the ground and chase you. The way to avoid them there is to go into hyperspace, hit your hyperspace button, which is the number 3 on the keypad. And that'll warp you, hopefully, out of the way of the guided missiles. Now, the last enemy that I haven't gotten to yet is the UFO, which is a rather large flying saucer type thing that hurls all kinds of crap at you. And that's actually pretty hard to hit because it throws such a barrage of junk at you despite its large size. So that's the gameplay in a nutshell. And as you advance levels, you advance by scoring a certain set number of points. Oh, there's the UFO. He wasn't too hard to shoot down there, but he can be a pain in the ass. So as you score points to advance levels, with each level change, it's indicated by the color of the background changing. As you can see, I'm on level 4, which is like a teal color. And with each level, you get a points multiplier. And if you haven't guessed by now, the basic object of the game is to score as many points as possible. There is no end to the game. The instruction manual only has the game going up to level 6 with a 6-time multiplier. I don't think it advances past that. I played this game for, 20 minutes, 22 minutes before I just shut it off because I still had a lot of lives left. It's a game that you can play for hours despite how fast-paced the action gets because you can rack up extra guys rather quickly. As you see right now, I have 17. Astrosmash was a very popular game for the Intellivision, so it's pretty easy to come across a copy if you don't already have one. So I definitely recommend picking one up if you have an Intellivision. It's a good time. It's easy to play, easy to pick up, and yeah, you can kill 20 minutes, no problem with it. I sure did. I'm Dommy from Classic Games Revisited. Until next time.